Welcome to the Edge of Greatness podcast.
I agree completely that talent is only going to take you so far if you don't learn the skills that are required to, one, grow that talent past your certain point of just God-given abilities, and two, to sustain it once you get there. So you said there's 5 key components. Let's dive into those a little bit. What are the 5 for you? What are those?
Well, yeah, I come to 5 choices, and it's relevant because of what you and I are talking about. So the 5 choices, technically I call it 4 plus 1.
Okay.
Just for fun, right?
Yeah.
And it's we speak of something called the edge, and the edge is an actual place in everyone's personal and professional journey where they get to a spot where skill building, getting better, gets hard and uncomfortable. And it's usually just beyond your talent. So I like to phrase the edge is the place where you need to build skill that you don't have talent for. And I think of all the people who are listening to this podcast or watching this podcast, think about me and my own journey, where all these things here at my age now, where I've run out of talent, Charles. I don't have any talent left. I mean, if I'm going to get better at something in life, it's not going to be easy or comfortable because, I'm not 32 years old anymore. And the human brain becomes fully formed in your late 20s, middle to late 20s, early 30s, about that time. Your brain becomes fully formed according to its genetic wiring. We used to think the brain couldn't grow any more new neural networks, new neural pathways. We thought the brain became fixed at that time. As it turns out, it's exactly the opposite. The human brain is plastic. It grows. It develops throughout your entire life. So I am able at my age, 68, to build new neural pathways and new skills. It's called neuroplasticity is the term. And it's a really cool thing. So here are and it takes choices and discipline, no talent required. So choice number 1 is be relentless in focus and effort. That's the first decision you got to make at the edge when you want to get better at getting better. You want to take a current skill to a new standard, or you want to build a whole new skill. Number 1 is you need relentless focus and effort. And focus is what you give your attention to and what you say no to, by the way. So it's focus and filter. Say yes to the stuff that matters and no to the stuff that doesn't. And a lot of things that don't matter are attractive.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, it's and downright seductive, So the elite skill builder says yes, focuses on what matters and filters out what doesn't. So they're relentless about that. They're relentlessly saying no to this, and yes to that. The second thing about you got to be relentless to is effort. You got to be, you call it grit, you call it perseverance, you call it persistence. I call it relentless effort. I mean, you just have to keep swinging. So that's choice number 1 is be relentless and focus and effort. And again, this theme, no talent required. It takes no talent to be relentless in focus and effort. And maybe what's really sad is to see talented people fail in their focus and effort. That's sad.
I totally agree there. You see that all too often, that somebody's got just endless amounts of talent, but they just want to rely on that talent and they don't want to continue to focus their efforts and be disciplined. And they want to go have the fun stuff, like you said, the distracting pieces that just draw their energy away.
Well, you just used the word I was going to inject. So we're thinking along the same lines. Part of being relentless in focus and effort is to be a creator of energy. Mm-hmm. Effort is a lot, that's energy. So be elite at creating your own energy. You can get energy from 2 places: externally from the environment around you, or internally from within you. Extrinsic is the outside, intrinsic is on the inside. Every elite performer I've ever studied or coached or consulted to created intrinsic energy. They didn't tether their energy to the external environment. Because if you allow the external environment to be the determinant of your energy, what kind you have and how much you have, as the environment goes up and down, positive, negative, neutral, interested, engaged, your personal energy is going to fluctuate tremendously. What the elite are able to do is create their own energy and bring their energy to the situations of life and sport and school. And that is, Charles, that's a superpower.
Yeah.
So anybody listening to this, don't be a person who is tethering your emotional state and your energy level to the environment. No, create your own. And when things are negative, bring your positive energy to those things that are negative. Hugely important.
Yeah. That sounds very similar to something that I use is the people like to ride the winds of motivation. They just wait for the winds to blow and them to feel motivated, and they don't want to move when they're not motivated. And instead of creating that motivation internally and getting the boat moving, or whatever the analogy you want to use is, they sit there and they wait for the wind to blow. And then the next thing you know, the wind's blowing the wrong way. And they're like, well, now what do I do? And there's no direction or focus on what they're trying to accomplish.
I've long thought and frequently say that the defining moment in mental toughness is the choice you make when how you feel doesn't align with what you need to do. And I say, don't wait to feel good before you do good. And I learned long ago, how you feel is not a great reference point for what you should do. And that's why we say relentless and focused and energy. Create it. Yeah. Be focused, bring your energy, bring the juice. And different kinds of situations, by the way, call for different kinds of energy. By that, I don't mean you're always hyped up right now. Sometimes the energy that you need is to slow down and listen to people around you. And we'll get into that in a minute. But So that's decision number one at the edge.
Thank you for joining us today on the Edge of Greatness podcast. If you haven't yet, please take a minute now to subscribe and review our show. Join us again next week as we continue to dig deeper into the key components of greatness. The path to greatness is never linear, so remember to keep pursuing greatness no matter what. Keep stretching your abilities, reach for the stars, and fall flat on your face. But remember, no matter what happens, whenever we fall, always get up. Until next time, I'm Charles Schultz, and this was the Edge of Greatness podcast.